cause you to have problems.
Okay, so making changes. So how do we do it, right? You know, this is an information age. This is an age where there's unlimited information and technology. Anything that you want to know, you can go to the Google God and type that in, and you'll find the answer. However, we are now moving through that information age into this transformation age, and in that manner, we understand that we want to know how this information applies to us, because just speaking and sharing and hearing, you'll hear something and you may have a synaptic connection, you may wire a message in your brain, but if you don't reuse that and you don't retell that or share that information, it will disengage. So we're going to break this down quite quickly, but to bring this all together. So first of all, we're energetic beings. That all of us are made up of energy. There's scientific data that shows how we receive energy and we give off energy. And in these energetic beings, we are made up of particles. Now, all of us are just made up of atoms, and these atoms have these particles. That's what we're all made up of. Now, the interesting thing about these particles that science is finding is that it's a momentary phenomenon, because it only exists when your attention is on it. So it's dependent on having attention, and that's what we're bringing in about having attention. So to make changes in your environment, we need to create an intention of where we want to shift our attention. So in order to shift that attention, you need to create that intention and then have an emotion that is equivalent to that new level of consciousness. Now, another way that we can say this is that every level of consciousness and vibration is around us. It's like a radio receiver. It's just which one are you going to dial in on? And so you can dial up into a higher emotional state, or you can down regulate and down level on an emotional state. And once you become a creator of your own life, you get to choose how you do that.
Exactly. And here's the thing, like Vicki was saying, when our attention is on the matter, it becomes matter instead of a wave. Instead of the energy, it becomes a particle or solid. Now, what we can do is actually affect the matter in a different way. Instead of matter to matter, we can do it energy to energy and effectively cause changes much quicker. In other words, it takes a lot of time. If you see somebody driving a car that you really like, you look at it and it becomes solidified in your mind, and then you desire to buy that, well, you've got to be making enough money to put out the energy and the money to change that so it comes into your possession. And it takes time, because in the third dimension we are in time-space. But you shift it to the energy and actually look at it and then go, okay, that's something that I desire, but energetically I'm just going to let it come to me. Now, this is a new way of thinking, because we can now allow the energy to shift so that the energy around you knows that's what you desire, but you're not putting so much attention on it, because that makes it too solid, too demanding. And so what you want to do is just let it go and let the energy flow to you. And believe me, this is a much easier way of obtaining what you desire, is energetically letting go of the difficulty of attaining it and making it become something that naturally will flow to you. So we're going to help you get into this mode of thinking. And one of the ways we get into this mode is by meditating, believe it or not. So we're going to talk a little bit about that. But you create your intention, you shift the direction of your intention. Instead of making it matter to matter and taking a lot of time to get what you desire, you let the universe bring it to you. And you choose a higher vibratory emotion. The highest is love. And you can just say, oh, I'd love to have one of those, or I love those kind of vehicles. And believe it or not, instead of saying, oh, I want one of those, you let it start manifesting into your environment and it will come to you.
Okay, so back to attention. There's two aspects of attention that we need to be aware of. So the first aspect is we need to have a consciousness and our attention on what you no longer want to be in order to make change. Where you are now, there's going to be elements of that where you no longer want to be, and then there's going to be elements of what you want to become. So those are the two aspects of attention. But with that, it takes awareness and management of your thoughts and your emotions, because your thoughts and emotions are going to be at the level of where you no longer want to be. And they will maintain that level until you make a conscious decision to look outside of that. So you need to choose which thoughts and emotions that you want to have. And when the ones that show up, and they will, and they do, and we go back because we're human, you need to give yourself the opportunity to stop them by claiming where you want to be, and set the intention, set the bar of where you want to achieve, and don't let anything else pass that gate. And the way we like to look at it is, I can change. I can claim that I can make a choice to change, and when I'm aware of what I don't want to be anymore, and the behaviors that I have, and the thoughts that I have, and the emotions that I have, when you have that level of awareness, when they show up, you can call it out. And I personally have had thoughts where I'm just like, change. And just saying the word change shifts that. Now Scott uses cancel, and that's great. For me,
that's an old paradigm, actually.
I personally like to use the word change because something in that wakes up my brain that I can do that. So that it's change.
I think change is much better because that's actually what we're desiring, and we're in that higher vibration now, and we can change just by saying change.
Yeah.
So that is very true. Thank you, Vicki.
Okay, so shifting attention. So a few things I want to go over, and what may be a myth with having change is, the first one is, change is not white knuckling or brute force. Nobody wants to just crawl themselves out of experiences. Now, we've had health challenges that we've had to literally white knuckle and brute force. We've had to go through that, and sometimes we do, but it doesn't have to be that way especially, and it's not sustaining. So just recognize, to make changes, it doesn't have to be a horrible, catastrophic experience where you're just making brute force and forcing it, because you're going to set yourself up for sabotage.
And that's matter to matter.
Yeah. And change is awareness and commitment to hold the line where your thoughts and emotions. Now, if you decide that you want to live in a state of gratitude or love or forgiveness, joy, excitement, exhilaration, any of those things, when you set that intention and you walk out with a cup of coffee in hand, and you're going to go seize the day, and then somebody pulls out in front of you at the stoplight, well, you need to decide at that moment, it's a moment by moment experience, whether you're going to hold that emotional state. Now, also, change is not an instantaneous experience, and like I said, it's not a linear experience. It's, we talk about this a lot in the healing paradigm, that healing isn't just an instant and moving forward. It doesn't happen that way. There's recalibration, and then there's setbacks, and there's life experiences. So don't set yourself up for the illusion that it's just forward only, because there's still growth and understanding and emotional states that we have to reflect on. And there's people in our environment who don't necessarily keep up to that level. Mm-hmm. And when somebody's making changes, usually the partner will either say one of things, don't leave me behind. That's a common one, correct?
Yes. Oh, absolutely.
And another one is, I don't like this new you. You didn't make this commitment in this level. And so they can be sabotaged. And we kind of joke that it's kind of like crabs in the bucket, yeah. They just pull you back down. So it's one of those experiences. So those are a few things to understand about making this new shift of change.
And the river of change it's out of your comfort zone.
Yeah.
It isn't easy. But you can make it easier by loving and being in the higher consciousness. So love every experience that comes to you and comes by you. You know, I look at our experience up in Mount Shasta where we were pulling out and this car literally came out of nowhere going faster than I'll get out. And we literally, the car went through our car. So the particle thing all of a sudden became energy instead of particle, and we didn't experience any damage at all. And both Vicki and I were just like, wow, what just happened? But we were in such a high state of energy, the car even became energy, so we didn't get any damage. And so that's the kind of shifting that we want to be in. We want to be in charge of our life and not having things happen to us that harm us, hurt us, and cause problems. So we want to become more instantaneous than linear or time-space.
Okay, so you're going to hear this a lot because meditation, would you say that we resisted it a lot?
We resisted meditation.
Would you say that we've done it forever?
No.
Okay. Would you say that in our moments of trauma that that's how we defaulted is to meditation?
Yes.
No.
Oh! Well,
No, we didn't.
I tried to meditate when I would get in a bad state. It would shift my consciousness back into the love state. So yes, I would meditate at night.
We did try.
But we weren't doing as good as we should have.
However, we have had enough experiences in life, enough growth, and enough time to look at ourselves to go, maybe all of these other defaults didn't work as well as we wanted it to work. And, you know, it was a couple of years ago that we just said, okay, we need, there's enough experiences. And we both had learned transcendental meditation, Vipassana meditation, we've gone to retreats, we dabbled. I would say it was kind of more of a hobby, right? Wouldn't you say?
Well, yeah, we were trying to be New Agers.
Yeah,
and, you know, do the thing.
And now it's a lifestyle.
Now it has become a lifestyle. We've committed to do at least an hour in the morning and an hour at night of meditation. Now, is that easy?
No, and do we do it every single time?
No.
However, when we miss a day, we don't judge ourselves and we don't go, oh shoot, well now I suck and why bother? No, but we just say, hey, you know what? It's time to meditate.
What's interesting is we have felt better in our health the more we meditate. So getting out of the particle and into the energy actually helps change your health to better.
Yeah, and so we're going to touch into meditation right now because it's going to be part of this transformation.
Yes, it's an important part of transformation.
And so here's a few of the elements of meditation. Now we're going to go a lot deeper into this because it's been a primary focus of our health and our lifestyle. Now it is who we are. But so a few things. So meditation quiets the thinking mind. We are in an analytical state most of the time. And we think that that's the healthy state. Now, it's great to be in an analytical state if you have to run some errands and you have a business meeting and you have some decisions to make. You know, even as a parent, there's times for that. But to maintain that analytical state, the key to remember about that is you can only analyze from your history. There isn't any creation mode in that because every decision you make is going to be from your emotional history. And so
experiences.
And your experience.
And emotions.
Yeah, so is that the creative force that you want to make change? If this is your backpack is full of your past, it's going to take a long time.
It weighs you down, believe me.
So another aspect is it calms the emotional response. And that's because you become more coherent. Now, these brain waves, we're going to go deeper into this, but just to touch on it, our waves, our frequency, it becomes more coherent in our heart, more coherency in our brain, and we make decisions better. We can let go of some of this emotional entanglement. It balances the nervous system. Now, in essence, my nervous system was really shot. I was sympathetic nervous system dominant, which means I didn't know how to turn on the parasympathetic system. So it was imperative for my healing experience. And it gives us opportunity for that inner reflection. And then it helps you move your emotional state from the past into a more creative future. So those are a couple of tidbits we want to share about meditation.
Oh,
Okay,
so
my sweet husband.
oh, sorry
Yeah.
about that. You know, it's interesting. We got up and we started meditating at 12:30 at night and did it until 4 this morning. So we're a little bit tired, but our energy was really good for making this presentation because we are thinking in a higher state. When we prepared this, we were thinking in a higher vibratory state of love and light and being in an energy that will shift not only us, but you also. And so our intent is to get in that higher state of not using the thinking mind, but using the spiritual mind, of calming our emotional response and getting into the parasympathetic or the repair stage. We actually repair better when we're in the parasympathetic rather than the sympathetic. Sympathetic is rush, 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 do this, do that. And you know, it makes your body heavy. It makes life heavy. So we want you to have a lighter life, a happier life. And it provides inner reflection where you can look at things from a different viewpoint. And it moves us from a heavy emotional past into higher emotions and a creative future.
Okay, so the power of meditation, if we bring this all down to one element of that, is that it shifts your attention and your focus of attention. Now with our fight or flight or the sympathetic nervous system and our conditioning of our experiences, there is a difference between a convergent and a divergent focus. Now, a convergent focus is object focus. It's
and narrow.
Yeah, it's very narrow, and it's like pick up those dishes and load the dishwasher, go fold your laundry, all of these task oriented. It's just our attention's on just this, and it's just like this all the time. A divergent focus is, and so the convergent is more matter, and then the divergent focus is more of an open focus, which is energy. It's the vibration, it's the frequency, and
you're looking at the big picture rather than just focusing on small things.
Yeah, so go ahead. And it's assignment time. So we're gonna go through a couple of these things. We're gonna start out with a few assignments. There's 3 assignments here because we want you to just choose in. So
they're very easy, so don't worry.
Yeah, but this is an opportunity. This is right now.
It's
this is your deciding factor. So assignment number 1 is sit quietly for a minimum of 5 minutes daily. Now, if you are a seasoned meditator, awesome. And if you do it every day, awesome. And if you've never done it before, awesome.
It's okay.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. But we're going to ask you to start today for a minimum of 5 minutes a day. Now, if that means that you sit down and just hold your baby and rock your baby, that's okay. Just sit and just be at peace. If that means at the end of the day you take off your shoes and you don't get up right away, that's okay. But start there. Just start with a minimum. Now, if you're already meditating an hour, if you're meditating 15 minutes, maybe increase an extra 5 minutes. And you know, it's really interesting because our mentoring clients, when they ask about meditation, a common question is, how long do I have to meditate? The length of time is not the determining factor. It's not the length of meditation. You don't get like an award because you're like, oh, so like you did 10 minutes? Well, I did 20, so like that makes me better.
No.
It's not that. It's the emotional state that you acquire during that. So when you are in that rebalanced energy, when you get to this point where you feel harmony, then you can just maintain that.